Ew. That's the most off-putting sound.
You're not supposed to gurgle rum. That burned. That burned a lot. Ow.
Are we starting?
This is a crazy transition, but speaking of alcoholism, do you know where we're going to go today for this story?
Okay. Wait, it's not in Nova Scotia.
I think the people...
True or false?
True. I think the people there would not hate that joke as much as I...
Newfoundland.
Yep.
Yes. I'm so proud of myself.
You got that pretty quick.
Best.
So you've never been...
Rub it in my face, yes. Okay.
I mean, I'm super fortunate because I'd never been either up until the last 2 years. I'd never gone at all throughout my whole life. And then all of a sudden within the last 2 years, I've been 4 times.
Which is nuts.
All for work, which is like such an amazing privilege. Yeah, I went to Labrador once and then 3 times to Newfoundland.
What are you doing with your hands?
It just feels normal to do when I'm talking. I'm just waving them above my head as I'm talking right now.
I'm just like, what is happening?
So you and I have talked about Newfoundland many times because we both want to go someday.
We're going to do it this summer. And then that didn't happen.
Yeah, that's okay.
Maybe next summer.
We did lots of other cool stuff instead.
Or maybe the summer after. One summer.
Yeah, so all my trips there have taken me to the east coast of the island, like St. John's. They're more urban areas, but all the adventures we've talked about doing are on the west coast, like Grossmorn.
What was that other one called?
Well, the through hike that we've talked about doing is the long range traverse.
But it's in Grossmorn.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yep. So that's I think that's our big Newfoundland bucket list item.
Although like the East Coast Trail, that goes like along the East Coast. Like that long through hike.
See, that's another one I would absolutely love to do someday. I think that's 300 plus kilometers total. Let's pull that up really quick.
Okay, wait. Your podcast episode, episode, is about... What was that hike that you did recently? Was it Signal Hill? You did it with Scott and Patrick?
Scott and Patrick.
Was that?
Yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yes!
For everyone listening, she's doing a celebratory dance right now. Okay, so here it is. The East Coast Trail. Explore 336 kilometers of wilderness paths. Oh, yeah. We have to do this.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. It just goes along the coast. And you don't even have to do the whole thing. Like, there's so many, like, little points you can access.
Yeah, I've seen so many clips and stuff from it. So that's the thing. Like, you get to see so much coastal beauty, and then it's like, it's not pure wilderness. Like, you would have stops in towns and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite adventures with you are the ones where it's like you're camping and then like car camping basically.
Yeah, and then you go see like a little town.
Yeah, and then you'll get a hike in and then stop in town for coffee and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and like a little treat.
Yeah, as much as I love like pure wilderness trips and like true backcountry exploring,
A good little balance.
like it is really nice being able to stop into town and get a pastry and a coffee between hikes.
Yeah, it's so much cozier sometimes. That's like a good fall activity.
Well, we did that 3-day hot tent trip last winter, which was really magical.
Yeah, that was really nice.
That was so fun. Yeah, we stayed at the Live Life Intense campground in Cape Breton and hot tented for 2 nights. And during the day, we would just go snowshoeing up different mountains and trails and got a bunch of coffees in Shetty Camp.
Yeah, that's going to be like our October adventure. That's usually what my like Cape Breton adventures look like.
So our goal for this October is to... we have a 4-day hiking trip planned to Cape Breton, and I'm totally hands off with the planning on this one.
Yeah.
Savea is planning all the trails, all the stops. I'm just a passenger.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see what you have planned.
Because last year I hiked over 40 kilometers, I think.
That was so funny though, because so you do a Cape Breton trip every fall.
Yeah, since COVID.
Yeah.
Since 2020, I think.
A little bit of a yearly tradition for you. It was so funny though, because last year I came up for the first bit because our plan was to overnight somewhere on the island and hopefully catch some peak fall colors. And but it turns out there's a nasty storm blowing through, so we had to camp on one of the easternmost points on the island, close to Louisbourg, the Gabarus Wilderness area. So we camped there for the night, and it was like so windy. Thankfully, we were able to keep out of the rain, so that part was nice. But it was incredibly windy. And do you remember when we pegged in the tent?
Oh, and it blew away.
Yeah, and then we went to go check on the dogs or something.
Yeah.
And I turned around, and the tent was 50 feet in the air and landed in the ocean.
Yeah, and you were just like standing there, and I was like freaking out.
And it was like... I was just watching this thing go, and then it landed like... It wasn't like... It landed off of a beach. Like I had to climb down some pretty slippery rocks to like
it was pretty
deep part of the ocean. I was like I was like, this is pretty dangerous.
Worth it.
And then so we camped there for the night, and then I drove home the next day, and then you drove up into the Highlands and did a bunch of hikes.
Which actually, now looking at it, wasn't that many. But I guess for like day hiking, it's a lot. 45 kilometers in 3 days.
That's a good amount. Especially because it's not like, there's like breaks in that. Like you're not hiking continuously, so there's like travel time. So this year will be your yearly Falky-Bren trip?
My 5th one, I think. 4 or 5. I don't know if we started in 2020 or 2021.
So the goal with this is obviously to kind of hit peak fall colors because it's a little bit different every year.
It's crazy because one year I had snow, one year I had peak colors, last year was like green.
Yeah.
So you never know.
Okay, back to Newfoundland.
I was going to say, this is our very long intro.
I mean, okay, so admittedly, I haven't traveled too much, but a little bit.
A little bit.
St. John's is the most beautiful city I've seen in my life.
Okay.
It has it's colorful homes. Like you've heard of Jelly Bean Row?
I don't know how factual it is, but it may have just been like clickbait or something, but it was like that people who live on Jelly Bean Row are like annoyed with all the tourists taking photos, so they wanted to paint their houses not colorful.
I mean, I get the sentiment, but I mean, you shouldn't make your city so gosh darn beautiful if you don't want people walking around taking pictures.
Also, just don't live like on the most like famous road.
But yeah, you have these beautiful old homes, and they're all just so colorful and vibrant. And as far as the geography, it's all very, very steep. So if you're looking at the harbor from the other side, you just have these layers and upon layers of beautiful buildings kind of tumbling down to the water.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and then you have all these like docks and shipyards at the bottom, and fishing wharves. And what's the is it Tim Burton? A series of unfortunate events. Is that Tim Burton? Wasn't there an adaptation that had Neil Patrick Harris in it? Is that the 2004? Okay, yeah, so he was in the TV show, and then the film was directed by Tim Burton. Gotcha. Okay, I'm glad we got there eventually.
Did you watch either?
I've seen bits and pieces, but the reason why I bring it up, do you know like that house that's like up on stilts on the ocean, on the big cliff?
Yeah.
So imagine like that, but a city. Like that's kind of the vibe of St. John's.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, as far as the layout of the city, you have the actual city of St. John's on one hill, and then it kind of branches around. So it's almost like the bay of St. John's, like the actual harbor, is surrounded by mountains or big hills.
Very cool.
And perched on top of one of the hills is Signal Hill, which is probably the most visited tourist attraction in St. John's. The site was first fortified by the British in the 17th century and became a key defensive position during numerous conflicts, including the 7 Years' War and the Napoleonic Wars. So what made it so important during these wars was its positioning. So if I can, again, try to paint a picture here, imagine a town that is totally surrounded by mountains. So you have sheer cliff faces all around this town. And the only way in is through a little gap in the cliffs.
What a good spot to be.
There's one single route into town, in and out. And perched on top of one of the cliffs overlooking this narrow mountain path is a fortress. If you're an enemy and you want to come into the town and they don't want you there, from high atop on the cliff, they can attack you. And there's nothing you can do because you can't reach them with any of your weapons.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
This is essentially the role that Signal Hill played in wars, at least from a naval perspective, because if you wanted to sail into the bay, which, that's how all the attackers would come in.
Yeah, they didn't have planes back then.
Exactly. And if you did want to do a land attack, it would have to be a whole coordinated effort. You have to come from a totally different direction. So sailing in was by far the easiest way to get to St. John's. But to do so, you have to pass directly under Signal Hill. So they had cannons up there, and they could just shoot you.
Do they still have cannons?
Yeah, you can still see all the barracks and cannons and military stuff today.
Fun.
It's really cool. Yeah.
But it's not like an active...
No. So today it's preserved as a National Historic Site.
Is it a national park?
It's no, I don't think it's a park technically.
So it's not like Citadel Hill.
Because Citadel Hill here in Halifax is technically a park, right?
Yeah, it's a national park. Yeah.
No, I think it's just a historic site.
Okay.
Yeah. So Signal Hill changed hands a bunch of times throughout history, mostly between the British and the French over these numerous wars that they would have. But in 1762, it was the scene of the Battle of Signal Hill, where British forces reclaimed St. John's from the French for the final time. This would be the last battle of the 7 Years' War in North America. The hill later served as a signal station, using flags to communicate ships' arrivals to the town below.
Is it bad that I feel like I don't know what the 7 Years' War is?
No, you don't. Because I didn't either till I started researching this story.
Like, I feel like I've heard about it, but I don't think we learned about it in school. But it's obviously just a war between the French and the British.
The 7 Years' War, 1756 to 1763, was a great power conflict fought primarily in Europe, with significant campaigns in North America and South Asia. The warring states were Great Britain and Prussia fighting against France and Austria, with respective coalitions receiving assistance from countries including Portugal, Spain, Saxony, Sweden, and Russia. Interesting. So the main war was overseas.
Which makes sense, because
but there are still battles here.
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe we'll revisit that in a future podcast, because I am too drunk to understand what I'm reading. But Signal Hill's most famous moment came in 1901, when Guglielmo Marconi received the first transatlantic wireless signal there. Today, the site, dominated by the 19th century Cabot Tower, stands as a National Historic Site, symbolizing both Newfoundland's military heritage and its role in communications history, which is this super cool. It looks like a mini castle that sits right atop Signal Hill.
Fun.
It's so cool. So my plan for this episode.
Yeah.
Because I felt very inspired after your episode last week on the ghosts in the White Mountains. So part of me was like, I would love to do a ghost story, because Newfoundland is...
But it's not a ghost. Well, there's Titanic. Think about how many Titanic ghosts there.
Oh, that would be a great story to cover someday. So yeah, like I was saying, I felt very inspired by your ghost stories last week.
Yeah.
So part of me was like, it'd be really cool to tell some ghost stories, because Newfoundland has some absolutely amazing ghost stories. But I was like, you know what? Maybe we should switch it up.
It's a serial killer.
No.
It's a murder.
I really do want to cover true crime eventually, because I find that's...
You literally made our genre
True crime. I feel like it's the closest thing.
Wait, so you didn't do ghost and you didn't do true crime?
I really want to properly research true crime before I tell that story to truly do it justice. Because, so what I've decided to do, my plan for this episode, I'm going to tell you about the trail and what brings us here in the first place.
Okay.
And then I'm going to tell you a couple ghost stories around Signal Hill.
But the main story isn't a ghost story?
The main story is a story of prison break.
Oh, so kind of close with true crime.
We're dabbling in true crime. We're dabbling in true crime a little bit. We're working our way up to it. We're going to get there. Eventually, one of us will do a full episode on a serial killer. But
yeah, we shouldn't get so giddy about it.
No, we shouldn't. I want to start by telling you about the trail that I did that brought us to this episode.
Okay.
Like I said, when I was looking at my work schedule for that weekend in June, I was like, the only time we can really, truly go out and explore a lot is before our flight, because we had basically the whole morning and early afternoon to kill in St. John's. So as I was looking for a trail to do around the city, and what came up was the North Head Trail, which is a loop that goes around Signal Hill, down to the ocean, back to town, and then you climb back up to the top of the hill to the starting point. So it was kind of the perfect hike in that situation, because the loop itself was only 3.4 kilometers.
Oh, really?
It was by far the most action-packed trail I've done. Like step for step.
Yeah.
Every moment of that trail was incredible.
So it's like all coastal.
It's all coastal. You go up, you traverse the top of the hill, you go down to the ocean, and you walk like under these huge cliffs, and you walk through like the beautiful historic St. John's.
Yeah, do you remember? Yeah.
Yeah. Because, like a lot of hikes are like, you're kind of like slugging through the woods to get to a look off or whatever it may be. But there was not one moment on this hike that wasn't absolutely breathtaking.
That's why coastal hikes are the best. Just saying.
Yeah, maybe. So there's a lot of different access points for this hike. You can start in town. You can start at the actual Cabot Tower. You can start at the visitor center / interpretation area that's up there as well. So there's a lot of points where you can start this hike. So we started this hike at the visitor center and we did it clockwise. So if you do it the same way we did it, this is what you can expect. So from the visitor center, you'll walk out to the edge of the hill. One thing I absolutely love about Signal Hill, and I guess kind of Newfoundland in general, is that because it's so barren, and especially like on the coast, like in areas like this, there's no trees. I forget the actual height of Signal Hill. I think it's 160 something meters.
Okay.
So really not that tall, but it's just so rocky and barren that it really feels super mountainous, even though it's not that high. So you walk out to the edge of the hill and you hike towards Cabot Tower. As you're hiking, you'll cross old military barracks, like I mentioned. There's old cannons. You can see the old buildings and stuff. So once you traverse the peak of Signal Hill and you cross the tower, there's a very steep series of stairs that will take you back down to the ocean on the other side.
Oh, so like you're basically like closer to like sea level, and then you hike up, then you hike back down?
So the visitor center where you start is on the top of the hill.
Oh, okay, so you're going down.
Yeah, so then you walk out to the hill's edge, and then you walk to the tower, you cross to the other side, and then you go down like the steep cliff face to the ocean.
Okay.
And once you're down there, it's more of the same. There's these beautiful dramatic rock formations in the ocean. There's benches and stuff for you to sit and enjoy the views. And then it loops back towards the tower, but instead of going up, it hugs the cliff faces along the ocean back towards town.
Okay, that sounds pretty.
It's amazing. So it's literally like the path is like as wide as you are.
Oh wow.
So it's very narrow and there's no railings either. So you have like a sheer cliff face on your left going down to the ocean, and then you have cliff faces to your right above you going back up to the top of the hill.
That's so creepy. Like, not creepy, but like kind of scary.
It's like there's definitely some points where if you fell, you're going straight into the
ocean. But nobody's like hurt themselves.
I imagine there's some instances where that's happened.
But nothing like common.
Definitely not common. No. And there's some parts that are so steep that there's chains along the cliffs that you hold as you're hiking so you don't fall. Like I said, there's no part of this trail that's not boring. There's no part of this trail that is boring.
I was going to say, what? I feel like that's not what you're going to say.
So eventually, once you traverse this beautiful cliff section, you reach the edge of town. And from here, you're walking through these narrow, winding streets, and you have these houses that are just like built into the hillside. And so from there, you make your way through town and you climb back up to the starting point.
This feels like longer than 3 kilometers, but...
That's the thing. Like, for a trail that contains this much beauty, you would think that it is longer than 3.7 kilometers, but...
Got a lot happening.
Yeah, you can do it in 45 minutes.
That's crazy.
And it's just incredible. Every step's incredible. Once at the top of the hill, one of the last big features you'll cross is Dead Man's Pond and Gibbet Hill, which brings us to our first ghost story. For many years, well into the 19th century, this hill was the site of many public executions.
Oh, that's creepy.
So captured pirates and other convicted criminals were hung from the gallows on top of the hill. And then
was it like on top of the hill so that people could see?
That's exactly it. So the bodies were then suspended from a gibbet on the hill. Do you know what it?
I have no idea what a gibbet is.
Oh no, it's gibbet. I've been saying gibbet. It's gibbet. I'm so sorry, everybody.
Like a croc gibbet?
No, it's not nearly as adorable as a croc gibbet. A gibbet is basically a big metal cage that bodies were hung from. So after the person was executed, what they would do is they would put, because oftentimes, like I said, they were pirates or criminals.
Like Pirates of the Caribbean? Where they're like in like, do you remember that?
I actually I've never watched it. Your face.
Never mind.
What scene though? Because I'm sure a lot of people listening have watched.
Well, there's a scene where like they're like, I feel like they're stuck in cages, like they're suspended from like, I don't know what. It's been so long since I've seen this movie, but I feel like they're suspended and they're like basically in like a bird cage.
So that is a gibbet. So that's
And then
probably
I feel
exactly
like the
what that
birds were trying to eat their skin.
Yeah. So thankfully in this case, they would be dead most of the time before they were put up in the gibbets, but they were put there as a warning. So if you're sailing into St. John's, you would look up on the hill and you would see these bodies hanging from cages.
What a cozy welcoming.
And it's widely believed that Dead Man's Pond got its name.
Because there's dead men everywhere?
There's dead men everywhere, and that's where they would dispose of the remains from the bodies of the cages.
Inside the pond?
Yeah, because it was right below this hill. So it's like this little rocky peak literally overlooking the pond that's right below
How
it.
horrible does this pond smell?
Well, thankfully, not too bad when we were there.
Probably because they're all decomposed now.
It was a little smelly, but I think that may have been my coworkers, Scott and Patrick.
That's so mean.
Whether the pond got its name from this or the fact that there have been a shocking amount of accidental drownings over the years, it's not totally clear.
No, it's definitely the pirates.
All of this combined, though, with the countless military battles, not to mention the legends of pirates and Viking activity around the hill, it's no wonder why there are so many ghost stories associated with this little body of water.
Like, how big is this pond that people are drowning in it?
Well, one of the oldest legends of the pond is that of an ancient spirit that is said to inhabit the pond's depths.
Oh.
And as the story goes, the spirit is that of an indigenous chief or tribal elder that had either drowned in the pond accidentally or had been murdered by his own people for some misdoing. Though, like I said, given the dark history around the pond, it could have been any number of angry spirits from anywhere. Either way, it's believed that this spirit seeks vengeance upon the living and is responsible for many of these drownings that occur around the pond. Some story tells of ghostly hands that grabs unsuspecting swimmers and pulls them beneath the water surface.
Wait, people are swimming?
I think historically people have swam there.
Not like recent.
Not currently.
Okay.
When I was there, I did not get swimming vibes. I did not look at that pond and think, I want to jump in there right now.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
So it's said that the spirit would pull people under and hold them there as they flail and kick and gasp their last breath. Others describe spectral hands reaching out from the depths below and grabbing hold of those who chance to walk too close to the water's edge, pulling them to their deaths.
See, that's creepier because, like, if you're, like, swimming, like, you know, do at your own risk. But if you're just, like, walking on the edge and, like, you know...
Someone grabs your ankle, you're so for
and, like,
a walk.
that's just it? Like, that's a truly angry ghost.
Well, I realize that a lot of this might be scary. And that's why I have some audio I want to play to help, hopefully... lighten the mood a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't want to spook you too much.
Okay.
Well, while me, Scott, and Patrick were hiking around Deadman's Pond, Scott and I looked back and noticed Patrick frantically talking on the phone.
Oh, yeah. I remember this story. Oh.
So here's Patrick explaining what was happening while he was on the phone on the edge of Deadman's Pond. And thankfully, no one grabbed him while he was doing that.
So essentially what happens is we're on our nice little hike. We're about 5 minutes in. We just finished singing the song. You can always hear me singing. Show me the way to go home. Boom, boom, boom. Show me the way to go home. And I go to take my phone out to get a photo of the beautiful downtown St. John's view. When suddenly I noticed that there's many missed calls from a private number. My phone was trying to call 911. I pocket dialed 911 by accident. And then I had to explain on the phone, and they were very understanding, and they told me it wasn't a problem, and they told me it's a mistake that happens quite often apparently, which is concerning. But yeah, that's how I started the hike. They were nothing but polite to me and very understanding. And I'm going to say that I would never try to do something like that, because that's horrible, because that's an important service. But yeah. Be careful where you keep your phone, kids, because apparently that can happen.
Are you familiar with the tale of the Headless Horseman?
Not familiar, but I've heard of it.
It's the first thing that truly scared me. I remember reading that book when I was young and I couldn't sleep, and I read the book of the Headless Horseman, and it kept me up at night. I was absolutely horrified. I had to go get my dad.
Oh.
And yeah, I made him sleep in bed with me that night. Well, I bring that up because Signal Hill has 2 accounts of headless ghosts haunting its slopes.
They got decapitated. Final answer.
One of them did.
He's responsible.
He is. For what?
Being the headless horseman.
Oh, maybe. This is separate. We're moving past Deadman's Pond.
Oh.
Yeah.
You should have said.
Sorry. So that covers the Deadman Pond section of the hike. So now let's make our way down into the town. So one legend concerns the ghost of Tommy Connor's Gate, a story which has been circulating around Signal Hill for at least 60 years. Tommy Connor's Gate was located right across from where the Battery Hotel currently stands today. The property had at one point been farmland owned by the Barnes and the McGrath families. The original farmhouse had long been torn down, but this gate that was just across the road remained there for many years.
Like an actual gate?
Yeah, so this gate was large enough for a cart to pass through with concrete posts on either side.
Okay.
While there was nothing special about the gate itself, the ghost that appeared alongside it was another matter. People would see the ghost of a man standing by the gate, missing his head,
Ew.
but holding his hat in his hand. As a result, everyone was too scared to pass by it.
I mean, that's fair. Oh, it's so sad he's holding his hat because he can't wear it.
I know. He's like, I sure wish I had something to put this hat on right now.
That's kind of sad.
Yeah.
Maybe he's just trying to find somebody to put the hat on.
Oh, maybe that's how the ghost finally passes on to the next realm.
He finds somebody to put the hat on.
He finds a friend to give his hat to. Oh,
yeah.
And then, so that his hat can... Wow, why did this become so sad? So, not much is actually known about this ghost or why he's there. While the gate itself, Tommy Connor's Gate, was just named after a local man, no one really knew who this ghost was.
Wait, so it's not the person?
No.
Whose gate it was?
No.
Oh.
No.
Well, maybe.
It definitely could have been. That's not what people thought, but I guess it certainly is possible. It was believed that it was the spirit of a man named either Fitzgerald or Fitzpatrick, who died or was possibly killed in the same spot he was standing while he was alive. So now we're going to make our way down to the Narrows, which is the channel of water that enters the St. John's Harbor. So this is where the other headless ghoul lurks.
Oh, they're not friends.
No, they might know each other.
Yeah.
I can see them getting along. They have a lot in common.
Little secret handshake. They can't talk, so they can't whisper.
All they have is their touch.
Okay, that sounds creepy, so we're just going to move on.
Sorry. So it's said that the specter of a large pirate haunts the Narrows. Yeah, so this large specter is also missing his head. The speculation around this ghost is that he was killed by his fellow pirates. And this is something
that makes sense.
And this is something that would happen a lot. So typically when pirates would bury their treasure, I don't know if you know this from watching Pirates of the Caribbean or whatever it may be. But when pirates would bury treasure, they would kill a pirate and bury him with the treasure so that his ghost would stay and guard the loot.
I did not know that. What a horrible idea.
This would typically be the younger pirates. Like you would have someone who the captain would be like, okay, does anyone want to stay here, guard the treasure? And then the pirate would be like, oh yeah, because this could be a young fellow looking to get out of the pirate business and be like,
and he doesn't know what's happening.
No, so he'll be like, yeah, I'll stay and guard the treasure.
They don't talk to each other. They're not like, oh yeah, never volunteer because you will die.
They're smarter than they look. It's just part of the biz.
Well, no, they're not smart apparently.
So they would be murdered, oftentimes, in this case, executed by a sword, decapitated.
I mean, yeah, they're probably like, I volunteer, and they're like, shoo.
Exactly. Head gone. And then the body would be buried, and the spirit would stay and haunt the area where the treasure lay.
Pirates are very superstitious.
Is that true?
Like, I think so. I
actually don't know much about pirates.
Neither do I. I've read a couple of pirate books.
What's your favorite?
There was one about a female pirate.
Ooh, is this a pirate romance novel?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, she's a female pirate.
What's it called?
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna look it up because that's a good book. Daughter of the Pirate King is the first one. I think there's like 2 or 3.
Good read. Spicy? Question mark?
I think so.
Svea?
Yeah.
Will you climb back up Signal Hill with me to end this ghost tour?
I guess so.
Okay, we're walking up the steep stairs right now.
I'm out of breath.
Yeah, me too.
Done.
What would happen if we kissed on these stairs right now? Do you want to do it?
No, I'm too out of breath.
Okay, sorry. You're right. Sorry, that was lame. I shouldn't have asked that. Okay, oh wow, look, there's Cabot Tower in front of us.
Wow.
So cool, eh?
I see it.
Well, you can only imagine that the tower itself must have its fair share of ghost stories.
Probably the most.
Probably the most. And according to the notes that I wrote earlier today, it does.
Really?
So that's crazy. Imagine that.
Are you going to tell me about it?
I'll tell you a couple here before we get to our actual story, because we're not there yet.
Oh my goodness.
I know, I'm so sorry. There are many ghosts around Cabot Tower. And caretakers today still report the usual haunts. Lights turning on and off by themselves, footsteps in the night where nobody should be there. I found a Reddit post where a former worker left a comment and stated that she would talk kindly to ghosts, not out of fear, but more so out of annoyance, so that she wouldn't have to walk back down hallways to turn lights off where
Oh, that's so
the lights
funny.
would turn back on by themselves.
Yeah.
It was more of a nuisance than spooky at that point.
Yeah.
But that's just one example of ghost stories.
Yeah.
People hiking the trails after hours have reported seeing faces in the tower's upper windows
Nope, don't do it during night.
when there should have been nobody there.
Absolutely not. I would die right then and there.
Or tales of ghost signals in the dead of night, as amateur radio operators have reported picking up faint Morse code even when their equipment is turned off. Well, some of these spirits could be there from the mid-1800s when the barracks were converted into a prison. Which brings us to our main story today.
I forgot that it was a prison
I
story.
know.
You really
This isn't even a ghost episode.
You really took me around this whole tour that I was so invested in it.
Oh, because I love ghost stories, and there's so many ghost stories around St. John's, and I did not do it justice at all. There's so many more.
Maybe next one will be a Titanic one.
Maybe. We didn't even scratch the surface. So, in 1846, after the old courthouse jail in St. John's burned down, some of the prisoners were moved to a barrack on Signal Hill after it was deemed unfit for the soldiers living there.
I mean, that's in itself soldiers can't live there, but we can send other people there.
So this two-story building lacked proper ventilation, windows, and sanitation, meaning adequate toilets. It could house up to 40 prisoners total, 20 men and 20 women. And those incarcerated within the walls were more than anxious to get out. In one particular Scooby-Doo style escape that happened on June 26, 1855, a Friday, between 9 and 10 p.m., a prisoner convicted of stealing a cow managed to escape using...
Wait, what?
He was jailed for stealing a cow.
I guess this is the 1800s.
Yeah, a cow back then was someone's entire livelihood.
It's did you ever see / read Les Miserables?
Les Miserables?
Yes,
No.
Thank you. Because he goes to jail for many, many years for stealing a loaf of bread. Different times. Well, he escaped using, quote, more ingenuity on his part than prudence on that of his keepers. On this particular Friday, 2 guards went upstairs to secure the cells for the night. Having unbolted the outer door leading into the room where the cells were, they entered together. Well, our prisoner in question was hiding behind one of those doors, and when he saw the guards enter the room, he darted out behind them, slamming the doors and locking the deadbolt that the guards had just opened, locking the guards inside the room with the cells. See? He outsmarted them.
So he took off down the hallway, and there was just one more thing standing between him and freedom. So this took place on the 2nd floor, meaning he had to get down the stairs.
Okay.
Well, there was a trap door on the top of the stairs, but this was also kept bolted outside by the guards to prevent this exact same situation. But in a safety measure that rendered this whole thing pretty useless, there was a bell that you simply had to ring, and when the guards heard the bell outside,
they would open it?
They would open the door. So he rang the bell, the door opened.
That's so funny.
And out he went. Well, word of this prison break spread throughout St. John's pretty quickly. And back then, in St. John's and Newfoundland specifically, a huge form of entertainment was writing songs and poetry about even the most mundane of things. We have a little poem written about this prison.
Okay.
And here's the thing. I have it written down here.
Yeah.
I could read it.
But you're not going to.
I'm not going to.
No.
You know why? That wouldn't do it justice. You know who would do it justice?
Who?
One of my best dear friends, Patrick Newhook of Newfoundland.
Is that the song he was singing?
That's not the song he was singing. But I do, however, have him reciting this verse for you.
Oh, that's so cute.
So here it is.
There's old McGill the governor and Jimmy Bryan the cook. I can't forget Peg Cullen, whose nose is like a hook. I was there last summer, but I won't go there no more. I mustn't forget Jonathan, the porter on the door.
Good. I didn't get any of that.
Do you want to hear it one more time?
No.
Okay.
I just feel like I heard a lot of names. Jonathan.
Whose nose was like a hook?
I just feel like poetry, like I need to like see it.
Yeah.
More of a visual.
That's fair. I need you to hear it in a Newfoundland accent.
Yeah,
That's
no,
all.
100%. I appreciate that.
Well, the most famous story of escape came in 1906 when Philip Brady, a young English seaman living in St. John's, was sentenced to 18 months for stealing $40 from a poor box, which, by the way, is over $1,000 today.
Oh, wow. So that's a lot
Yeah.
of money.
In early November, 6 weeks after being incarcerated, he escaped. Along with his cellmate John Farrell, Brady stole a rope from a workroom and hid it in a slop barrel. So a slop barrel is basically a kind of like a garbage can, but I think it was mostly like organic waste. It's like wastewater and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
They would put into this barrel and they would dump it later in the night,
Okay.
I think. So later in the night, him and some other prisoners took this barrel out and dumped its contents down the garbage chute, making sure the rope that was within the barrel was out of sight.
Oh, these people are very smart.
Yeah, they thought this one through. Well, that evening, Brady and John, his cellmate, asked to use the bathroom, and under the cover of night, they slipped away from the guard escorting them. They ran across the roof of the prison and down the garbage chute where the rope was waiting for them. When the coast was clear, they used the rope to scale the prison wall. Brady went over first, but the prison guards, in pursuit, got John before he could make the leap.
Yeah, I always want to go first.
Well, situation dependent too, because if you go first and it's not the best route and something happens to you and you're second, you're like, well,
So really you want to
going
go
over the
with
wall.
3 people and you want to be the middle person.
only hours after Brady's escape, a $50 reward was issued for his capture. One instance of a sighting of Brady came from a resident named Patrick Coughlin, who claimed Brady broke into his home and stole his clothing and food before leaving again, leaving behind his black and white prison attire. Well, funny enough, this is not the first time Brady stole clothes from Coughlin. Only a couple months prior, for reasons unknown, Brady also broke into his house and took clothes.
He was just practicing. He
Just
knew his time was coming.
Absolutely bullying this one guy for some reason.
Maybe he just had really good style. He was like, this is the guy. Why buy clothes if you can steal it?
Well, as the search for Brady intensified, so did the criticism from the public towards the police. Mostly because there were several false arrests of short, blonde-haired, blue-eyed men who resembled Brady. One gentleman was arrested in his hotel and was released after realizing he wasn't Brady, but a couple days later was arrested again because they thought he was Brady.
Wait, what? So you got arrested multiple times?
Yeah, the one guy got arrested multiple times.
So the police isn't very smart.
No, they're doing their best, maybe. The police searched everywhere, from the waterfront to the hills, and crowds gathered at the train station one day as a rumor circulated that Brady was being brought back under police escort. Letters poking fun at the police continued to roll in. One of them suggested that the superintendent sing a popular song of the time called Bill Bailey, Won't You Please Come Home, but replace Bill Bailey with Phil Brady.
That's funny.
And
People
then-
don't have anything else to do?
that was the entertainment at this time in
Yeah.
Newfoundland.
I guess they don't really have anything.
Yeah, this is before popular entertainment came along.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eventually, Brady was found in a man's potato cellar, wielding a pitchfork to ward off the police. Thankfully, though, he was brought back to prison without any incident, and he told police that he had kept up to date with their searches for him by reading the paper and found the blunders quite amusing.
That's so funny. It's like social media before,
Yeah.
before that was a thing.
That would have been so fun too. You're just hiding out and you pick up the paper every day and you're just like, let's see where they're at.
Where is he
Am I
getting the
searching
paper
for
from,
me?
though, if he's like in the potato cellar?
It's funny you asked that. Well, as far as how he was caught, there was speculation that he was taken in by a lady who took pity on him named Mary Barnes. And A jealous lover of Mary's tipped off the police about where he was hiding.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about how they knew that he was there.
And Mary was actually taken into custody as well, but as far as her conviction, we don't really know. We don't know much.
Well, hopefully nothing happened to her.
Hopefully.
It wasn't her fault.
Brady was only free for 18 days, and the number 18 seemed to be a bad omen for Brady, because he was 18 years old, sentenced to 18 months for his original crime,
Yeah.
and was free for 18 days.
Oh, goodness. So what happened now?
Well, when everything was said and done, Brady had become a local folk hero, providing the town with a great couple of weeks of entertainment.
Yeah.
People loved the story while he was on the run.
Oh, yeah, they were like, can we have more people do this?
Yeah, and because of all the police blunders, he had become a hero.
Yeah.
The following February, Brady received his sentence, a year for jailbreaking. Charges for stealing Coughlin's clothes were dropped, but that Christmas, Brady contracted tuberculosis from the cold weather after spending much of the time on the run outside that winter. He died on June 19th, 1908, in the Signal Hill Hospital. By the way, that's 2 years after the original
Okay.
escape.
Yeah.
His funeral was attended by hundreds. Like I said, 2 years had passed since the manhunt, but the people of St. John's had not forgotten about their hero. But back to the rich history of songwriting and poetry surrounding Newfoundland and Labrador. While much of the oral history has been preserved through writing and things like newspapers and journals, or even through being memorized and sung at concerts and shed parties alike. But, unfortunately, most of these beautiful songs and poems have been lost to time.
Yeah. Because they're probably not written down.
And it's like, it could literally just be something like you come up with something in your home one night,
And then it's forgotten the
sing it
next
with
day.
your family, and it's gone the next day.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's our duty as hosts of a podcast talking about folklore to help preserve
Yes.
some of this history. And you see, Brady had a song written about him
Okay.
and his great prison break in 1906. So I would like to invite my good friend Patrick back on to conclude this podcast
Oh,
and sing this song for us.
that's so cute.
Oh, we have to say our line.
Yeah.
Always remember,
The more footsteps.
the more folklore. Patrick, take it away.
So we were all over in the shed one night. We were thinking to ourselves, what will we do on a night like this? It's raining a gale outside and it's miserable out. And then I thought to myself, I know exactly what would kill the evening quicker than a knife, faster than a gun, and deadlier than a bomb. A good game of Scrabble. Now the boys were like, Scrabble, are you 97, Patrick? And I said, no sirree. I ain't 97, but I knows a good time. And its name is Scrabble. The fellers, they were looking at me left, right. They couldn't believe the sight they were hearing and seeing. They were shocked to gale. Well, then I broke out the game, and the only thing that was shocking was how good my score was, let me tell you that. You all have heard about young Phil Brady, he who escaped from out our city pen. We were inclined to think that he had left us, and yet he's rambled back again, Of course, the police had to use persuasion to make Phil Brady ramble back again. He rambled back again. And his holidays, alas, they are all to an end. And now, in his home sweet home, he'll remain because he rambled back again. Where he'll have to don the regulation and never more will wear Pat's pants again. As he rambles back again. And so, with many keen regrets, we leave him. His notoriety will never wane. And when his present term it has expired, we hope he'll never ramble back again. He's rambled back again.